الذين يأكلون الربا لا يقومون إلا كما يقوم الذي يتخبطه الشيطان من المس ذلك بأنهم قالوا إنما البيع مثل الربا وأحل الله البيع وحرم الربا فمن جاءه موعظة من ربه فانتهى فله ما سلف وأمره إلى الله ومن عاد فأولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون. يمحق الله الربا ويربي الصدقات والله لا يحب كل كفار أثيم إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وأقاموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة لهم أجرهم عند ربهم ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. صدق الله العظيم. Verse 275 of Surah Al-Baqarah, after the discussion on giving sadaqat, giving in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the virtues of all of that, then in the middle Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings some ayat, some verses of the opposite of sadaqah. Sadaqah means a person gives for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Somewhat the opposite of it is that a person unjustly takes. So one example of unjustly taking someone else's wealth would be the haram way of riba. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that الَّذِينَ يَأْكُلُونَ الرِّبَا, those who devour, يَأْكُلُ, أَكَلَ يَأْكُلُ literally means to eat something. So those that eat, devour riba, they consume it. Because a person gets wealth out of by means of riba, and then they buy food with it, for example, and then they purchase it and they purchase food with it, they feed themselves, their children, etc. So in that consideration, الَّذِينَ يَأْكُلُونَ الرِّبَا لا يقومون إلا كما يقوم الذي يتخبطه الشيطان من المس. What will be one of the adab, one of the punishments given to those that consume this wealth, usurp this wealth by means of usury? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that on the day of judgment they will rise. After Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives life again to people to rise for the day of Yawmul Qiyamah, they will rise like those people who have been touched with a madness from shaitan. When a person, sometimes the touch of shaitan is such that he makes a person go crazy, madness. So the madness that is here, the one that has whom Satan has battered with the touch of madness, and someone who is crazy, he's not in his right sense, he's not in his mind. Sometimes he wobbles here, he falls here, he does things. Anyone can tell that there's something wrong with this person. He's gone mad, he's gone crazy. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that this will be one punishment, one retribution of those that take and consume the mal of riba, the wealth of riba. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's sunnah is that the crime that is perpetrated, the adab, the punishment that is given, that is the like of the same crime. So because a person who consumes usury, he goes here from one person to another person to a third person, it's this madness of wealth. It's the wealth, the muhabba, the love of wealth that drives this person madness. He's taking from here, taking from there. He doesn't care about any of who's in front of him, that this person is in need. None of that matters to this person, right? So this person is crazy because of the wealth, because of the love of wealth. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's adab will also be that this person will be as if like those people that become crazy by the touch of shaitan. ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُمْ قَالُوا إِنَّمَا الْبَيْعُ مِثْلُ الرِّبَا. Why will this be their adab? ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُمْ قَالُوا إِنَّمَا الْبَيْعُ مِثْلُ الرِّبَا. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told the Ahlu Makkah that look, riba and usury is something which is haram. The riba is something which is haram. So the kuffar of Makkah, and this is what Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam taught the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. The kuffar of Makkah, when they heard of this, they said that, what are you talking about? The riba is haram? is forbidden, God forbade it. How does that make sense? They said إِنَّمَا الْبَيْعُ مِثْلُ الرِّبَا. They made it opposite. They said transactions, bay' meaning transaction, buying and selling, that is like riba. And one is to say that riba, interest, usury, that is like buying and selling. But they said, they made even the opposite. That normal should be what? The normal is to deal in interest. And yes, like that is also buying and selling. That's also permissible. That it's not even a question for us whether usury is permissible or not. What could be questionable is buying and selling permissible or not. And they made it the opposite. ذلك بأنهم قالوا إنما البيع مثل الربا. And many a times, unfortunately, we see some people in the community, they don't understand the technicalities that sometimes something is considered permissible and the other impermissible. They say that, well, at the end, it's the same thing. So it's not necessarily that, yes, you may have the same result at the end, but the steps that a person takes, the way a contract is formed, the hukum, the judgment of permissibility or impermissibility is given on the contract, not necessarily on the ends at all times. And if, for example, a person, if I give another example, that there is a couple in the park and they have a child with them, right? And then there's another couple and they also have a child with them. And it's not necessary that the child is legitimate in both situations, right? Although the hasil is the same, the outcome is the same, that they're a couple and they have a child, right? It's not that every time you have a couple and a child that becomes legitimate, right? If you had the halal aqd of nikah, the contract of nikah, if the contract was valid, then the natija, what comes from it, the child, then that will be considered a legitimate child. But if there was no halal aqd over there was no halal contract of nikah, then that is haram, right? In a similar way, this is just a broad example, that the way a contract is formed, that has to be permissible. That has to be halal. And those are technicalities. How when ulama, fuqaha, muftiyan will say that this is a permissible clause, this is an impermissible clause. In this situation, it is. In that situation, it's not. That's a lengthy discussion that we have and that we teach. But one point that should be understood, at least from our dars today, and this was at the time of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam also. The Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam told the Sahaba radiallahu anhum that you cannot sell 2 sa'. Sa' was a measure that used to be used at the time of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, right? A dry measure. So 2 sa' for our argument's sake, let's say 2 liters. 2 liters or 2 kilos, 2 pounds of dates cannot be sold for 1 pound of date, right? This was the hukum. This was the judgment that Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave. Then Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam told the Sahaba that what you could do is that you sell the one sa', 1 kilo for a certain price, right? Then you take that value and go buy the other 2 sa', the better one. That you could do, or vice versa. So although someone may say at the end it's the same, right? At the end is the same, that you're getting 1 sa' of this and 2 sa's of that, whether you do it like this or like that. But the difference is that in one, that the outlook of Shara is that 2 things which are of the same type, and for example dates, that cannot be sold in tafadul. Tafadul meaning a discrepancy in amount. A discrepancy in amount cannot be in 2 things which are of the same, right? So if a person sells dates for cash, so now on both sides is 2 different things. One side is cash, the other side you have tamar, you have dates. So these aren't the same things. But if you have the 2 same things and they are something which are from things of measure, then you cannot have riba in that. You cannot have any discrepancy in that. So these are technicalities based on a hadith of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam and nusus that fuqaha mentioned. ذلك بأنهم قالوا إنما البيع مثل الربا وأحل الله البيع وحرم الربا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that the bay' has been made halal for you and riba has been made haram. Another common form of riba that is found, which we do not even understand to be riba, is based on a qaida, a principle which fuqaha deduce from the hadith of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that is كل قرض جر نفعا فهو ربا. Any loan given which brings a benefit to the one who gives the loan, that is also riba, that is also interest. What does that mean? An easy example. If someone asks you for a small loan, so you gave $5,000 loan to your cousin. You gave $5,000 loan to your cousin. So now he will go and buy a car or whatever it is that he needs to buy. So he goes and uses this money. After a few days, you tell him, can you pick up my kids from school? Then you ask him, can you do this for me? Do that for me? Now, he's obviously going to do it. Why? But that person put ihsan on me, right? He did me a favor. So he feels obliged. And you know also, and even when you were giving, you say that, no problem, we'll let him borrow it, I'll give the 5,000 later. In the meantime, apna kaam ho jayega, right? We can use whatever it is. Rasul said that any qard, any loan given to someone by means of which you draw nafa', any benefit, kullu qardin jarra nafa' fahuwa riba. That is also a riba. That is also an interest. This is something we should be very careful about. Some write that in the past, the pious awliya, when those that used to give loan, and giving a loan is also a thawab, that when they used to go collect their debts, they wouldn't even stand under the shade of a person's roof. That when they're going to, so much ihtiyat and precaution, that what if someone may think that I'm using this person's roof for just as a shade. And this is something very small, obviously no one's going to consider that. But the precaution they had when it came to mu'amalat, when it came to dealings, was this, that if they gave someone a loan and they're going to collect that debt, they won't even use the shade of their roof to stand under. So this is something which we should be very careful about. وَحَلَّ اللَّهُ الْبَيْعَ وَحَرَّمَ الرِّبَا فَمَنْ جَاءَهُ مَوْعِظَةٌ مِّن رَبِّهِ فَانْتَهَى فَلَهُ مَا سَلَفَ. Whoever any maw'idah, any advice from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes to him, by means of wahi, that a person should do this, should not do this, فَانْتَهَى, then the person stops and he stays away from that. فَلَهُ مَا سَلَفَ, for him is whatever has passed. Before the hukum of riba came, this was something normal, which the Sahaba anhum used to also engage in. But once the hukum of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes, the maw'idatun min rabbih, the maw'idah, the advice from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the nasiha from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then they stop from it. فَلَهُ مَا سَلَفَ, whatever passed has passed. وَأَمْرُهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ, and their matters in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. However, وَمَنْ عَادَ, whoever returns to that, considering riba to be halal and then engaging in it, فَأُولَٰئِكَ أَصْحَابُ النَّارِ هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ, those are the people of the Jahannam and they shall dwell therein forever. We make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, save us from all types of adab.